Kameron Kay here, and today we're going a little goth, and I'm going to demonstrate actually this shield on hematite beads, but you can do any pendant that you want, and it's just regular beading with a pendant. So I'll see you there. So today I'm going to show you how to do a beaded necklace with a pendant. And this necklace actually is super cool because the pendant that I have is a sterling silver and gold pendant from Fred Segal in Santa Monica, California. And it's about a $300 pendant. I actually purchased it on a chain, and I thought I would rather have it on a hematite or an onyx. And so that's what I'm going to show you how to do. So you can actually do any pendant that you want. I'm going a little medieval today with the shield because I've been watching Elizabeth and I've been very into the medieval and that kind of vibe lately. But this is sterling silver, gold, any pendant as long as it has a bail at the top. If it doesn't, that's okay. You can use a jump ring. And the tools that you're going to need today are going to be some soft flex. I prefer soft flex wire, beading wire. This one is, it's 0.014 in inches. I prefer it to be a little thin so that way it's more flexible. Totally depends on what you're looking for. I'm also using today some hematite beads. Like I said, you can use pearls, you can use onyx, you can really use anything that you want to use. The hardest part of this whole thing is picking out the beads, the pendant, and the design. The actual beading itself is very simple. And I'm going to use a lobster clasp and jump ring, soldered, and 2 crimp beads in sterling silver to connect the clasp when I'm finished beading. I'm also going to use some sterling silver spacers, and I'm going to add some onyx colored Swarovski crystals in between. So that's what I'm going to use for my necklace. Like I said, you can use whatever you want, whatever beads you want. And as far as the tools, I'm going to use 2 pairs of flat nose pliers and a pair of scissors. Let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to cut my soft flex. And like I said, I always use excess, and you can actually use a beading board if you prefer. I'm just one of those people. I like to cook without instructions. I like to bead without measuring. So I go, that's about good. But if you want to measure it out, this one's going to be about 17 inches. It's a little short, but like I said, this pendant, I prefer to bead short. Everyone is different, and this pendant's very heavy, so I want to take that into account as well. So the first thing I'm going to do once I've cut my soft flex is I'm going to put one of the ends together. So what you do is you take the crimp bead and you put the wire through the crimp bead like so, and then I'm going to take the lobster claw and I'm going to put the wire through the loop in the lobster claw, and I'm going to bend it back through the jump ring. The crimp. I put it through the crimp like so. I'm going to push the crimp back, so you just beat it through like that. You want to make sure that it has wiggle room as well. I'm going to go ahead and crimp that on. Crimp the crimp, so to speak. And you want to keep a little excess here, so when you put the beads over it, it keeps it tighter and it's more sturdy, less likely for the soft flex to come apart. So I'm going to start my beads now that I have my clasp. I'll pour them into this little jar here. Okay, and it's very simple. All you're going to do is bead. So you're going to take the bead, put it through the hole. This one actually needs to be cut. Sometimes you need to cut it to get it perfect to go through the hole. And like I said, if you can fit the excess wire through the first few beads, that would be great. Sometimes, see, this one's large enough to fit, so I put the wire through the bead to secure it. The pattern that I'm doing for this one is going to be 3 beads, and then I'm going to do a silver spacer, a crystal, and a silver spacer, and then the 3 beads. So that's the pattern I'm going to do. I'll show you one set, and then I'll come back so you don't have to see all the beading again. So that's my 3 beads. I'm going to do a silver spacer. I did make this pretty long, but I wanted to make sure my point was clear. We really didn't have to do it that long. I'm going to do a crystal. What's really nice about this technique is you can use the same technique on a necklace as a bracelet or an anklet. So it's a great technique to learn, because depending on the length, you can use the same technique for all 3. I'm going to do another silver bead, and there is my pattern. So I'm going to do, like I said, 3 hematite beads, sterling silver, black crystal, sterling silver. I'm going to continue that pattern, and I will be right back. Okay, so now I have beaded the entire necklace. Like I said, this one's 17 inches, plus it's about a 2.5-inch pendant. And like I said, the pattern, you can see it, is hematite, sterling silver, and Swarovski crystal. So all I need to do, I've already put the beginning of the clasp on. I'm just going to connect the secondary portion. So I'm going to close it up. I always like to move it around and make sure it's not too stiff, make sure it bends. I like to try it on. There's nothing worse than beading an entire necklace, putting it on, and it's stiff. So make sure you have some wiggle room. And so we're going to kind of make sure all the beads are in line and there's no excess gaping. And I'm going to take my last crimp bead, and I'm going to do the same thing on this end that I did on the other end, which is you put the crimp bead on like so. And I'm actually, normally I don't do this when it's connected, so I'm going to unconnect it. I'm going to be doing the hoop or jump ring. So you put the jump ring on as well, and you have your crimp bead. So I'm going to take the wire and put it through, back through the crimp bead like that. Hold the ring and pull it through like this until you get to the very end. Ideally, you want to put some of these through as well, like the other side, but with this it's going to be too tight, so we're not going to do it for this one, but we did do it on this side. And it's not 100% necessary, it just helps keep it secure. So I'm ready to go. I'm going to crimp this crimp bead here. So I'm going to take my flat nose pliers, and I'm going to go ahead and crimp it down. I like to crimp both sides to make sure it's secure. And then I'm going to take my scissors. I'm going to cut this off as short as possible. Make sure you don't cut the main necklace, because that's a bummer and all your beads go flying. No one wants that. Now you have a beautiful necklace. So, like I said, the hardest part of this project is actually picking out the beads, the crystals, the pearls, whatever you're going to use, and the pendant. But once you have this basic beading theory, you can do anklets, bracelets, and necklaces of all types, all shapes, and all sizes. Good luck! Happy beading!